Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your break. The car's come a long way over the last year, and let's continue pushing our performance forward this season.
Welcome back YouTube, KRoad17 here with a brand new F1 2019 career mode video. Finally, I can say it, Season 2, and I was looking so much forward to this with all the upgrades that were going on to the car, the potential driver swap positions from team to team. Here we are doing our homework, going through all the resource points and the various emails that you get. But there you go, we have tire wear, brakes, weight reduction, weight distributor, and our engine power have all been upgraded for this season. So I was hoping that the Alfa Romeo car would be very, very strong. But here we are, Sebastian Vettel actually moves to Haas, and Lance Stroll moves to Ferrari to replace Vettel, and Grosjean moves to Racing Point. So now Racing Point is a completely new team as they have Ricciardo and Grosjean. So, I mean, that's going to be a little bit different, especially seeing Vettel in a Haas. It's going to be strange. And Stroll in a Ferrari, which is going to be absolutely crazy to see. I don't see how he could ever possibly leave Racing Point given his stature. But here we are, hoping for a better season, and we're still fourth of the worst team in Formula One, regardless of all the upgrades that we put on the car.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian Grand Prix.
So Season 2 is already starting. We're in qualifying. The car, I would have to say and admit that it felt a lot better this season, this opener in Australia, than it did back in the beginning of the career mode in Season 1, where we were in Australia and the car didn't want to turn, it didn't want to grip, it didn't want to do anything. But here we are, we're going to cross the line for our first Q1 in Season 2. Puts us fourth. That's not a bad showing. I was actually expecting it to be a little bit worse. But ultimately, a solid drive. We get into Q2 fourth. Our teammate gets into Q2 as 11th. Back on, we're right behind Ricciardo, as I felt like he might have been impeding us a little bit, but he actually dives into the pits, and we're going to finish our lap in Q2. Can we make a Q3 appearance for Season 2? I'm so pumped, guys. You can tell. Cross the line, and where are we going to get? We are going to be placed first, and that was a big surprise, I will have to say. Wondered if I needed to tune the AI now that the car's better, but Kimi actually gets himself in the 6th, so maybe, just maybe, this Alpha is actually better than it actually represents on the progression of upgrades. But here we are, Q3. What are we going to grab here for the Australian Grand Prix? This is the last lap we can put in. It's going to be pretty close as we're 119, 120 now, 121, 122. What did we get? Crossing the line.
Good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Pole position for the Australian Grand Prix is a little unexpected.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Rose, Gasly and Max Verstappen. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
And I think for the first time in my career with Alfa Romeo, we actually both get into Q3 and qualify.
They say that even a second is an eternity in Formula One, so going 4 winter months with no racing at all has seemed a very long time indeed. We're back though in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Rose lines up on pole position with Pierre Gasly alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Kevin Magnussen and Leclerc, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Perez, Lance Stroll and Norris, Albon, Butler, Carlos Sainz and George Russell. Weber and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Pole position. Let's go for the win.
So it is our duty to take care of the start. Here we are going for the one-stop strategy. I'm not going to change the fuel. I'm just going to go for it. I feel like Alpha has made a good choice here, waiting for those 5 red lights to go out in the Australian Grand Prix. They are lit. It is about to go, and we are away for the Australian Grand Prix. Can we keep the lead? No. It looks like Gasly's going to get a good run on us, and then followed by his teammate Verstappen. It looks like Red Bull have made quite an upgrade for this season as they are right ahead of us. So we're going to have to fight here and try to take back one of the positions on the first lap. Can we make an inside look on Verstappen? I'm going to send it. Keeping it clean. Didn't want to touch him. We get through. So now we're back to P2. Can we attack Gasly and get back to P1? As I will say, Gasly in this race was very, very fast. He did basically what he never did in real life, which being, put the car in a winning position. But Gasly is flying at this Grand Prix, so we're going to have to keep up with him. This being the first lap, we want to keep it as clean as possible, but maintain the position that we have. And we want to keep with Gasly here in front of us. So I don't want to burn too much of our ERS. I don't want to burn too much of the fuel, so I left it in standard. And I left it in high because I felt like we did have the ultimate power.
Start was okay. Now stay alert for threats around you.
Staying alert, Jeff. Don't mind us. We're going to keep on with this race, but Gasly right in front of us. As you guys can see on those long straights, we can keep up with him pretty nicely. He doesn't have really much to say as he's running a Honda-powered engine, and they might be very down on power in this career mode. I don't know. It's the only downfall of career mode. You can't see. I mean, it'd be too much of a given if you could see other teams' power compared to yours. Even though they do show you that graph, I don't think that's representative of how much power they have. Here we are right behind Gasly. We're going to make a move on the outside and send it lap 4. He's going to leave us the outside, and that might be just enough to get around him. It looks like he backed out a little bit, so we are now in the lead of this Grand Prix. And it's going to get a little dicey because he's going to have pace, really, and he's going to actually throw it to a couple corners that I did not block with the car. And all the while, Hamilton, if you guys see, the Season 1 champion is not too far behind on the mini-map. He's actually going to start reeling us in pretty quickly as he leaves that pack behind us. Sebastian Vettel is actually out of the race.
From the race. VSC deployed. The virtual safety car has been deployed. We need to keep a positive delta here. Slow down, maintain a positive delta, drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
So the one thing I did not want was a virtual safety car because I was trying to pull away from Gasly.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
Waiting for green. We're going to try to get the run on Gasly and catch him sleeping so we can pull away. Back to green we go. Can we get anything out of this car and push ourselves forward? Gasly is right on our tail. As you can see, I look back to see how close he was. He's right there. He does, I believe, have DRS in the next straight. So we're going to try to take care and guard the corners as best as we can, make this car as wide as possible. But it ultimately is going to be very close. He's right behind us, as you guys can see that proximity arrow.
Confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
Choosing the box a little bit earlier than this to do the undercut, Hamilton actually got around Gasly, which was very surprising. As Gasly actually tried to make a move, I didn't catch it, but he went to make a move and chipped a bit of his end plate off on the back of our car, so that pushed him behind Hamilton. But we're gonna dive for the pits now. Looks like Gasly's gonna follow suit. We're into the pits, and actually for once I'm starting to get the grips of entering the pit box and knowing how hard of brake pressure I have to apply to enter the pits and, putting the pit limiter on.
Go. Exit now. We're racing on the exit. Complete. Go now.
On our way out of the pits, we throw on a set of mediums to finish this race and bring these tires home to the
Stay
end.
clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
Don't worry, Jeff. I'm not going to cross that line. I do know the rules of Formula 1. but nevertheless, we're going to actually jump here on lap 12 just to show you guys how many people were pitting and how we ultimately get the lead back from Hamilton as he's there in the pits and we pass him. Now it's Hamilton and Gasly behind us, just like it was right before the pits. I'd lock up a little bit, get a little hairy out of that corner, so that was a little bit of a mistake on my end. I was trying my best not to let any mistakes happen. Here we are, lap 29, being as I pushed and pushed, but I also tried to take care of the tires. We were actually very able to pull away from Hamilton and Gasly. Set a purple sector 2 just to show you how much I was, really pushing on this lap. Because I wanted to win in style, and I felt like, that's bad because, Senna did that back in Monaco Grand Prix with Alan Prost and ultimately crashed himself out. So I kind of backed off just a little bit just because I was like, alright, we won Abu Dhabi of last season. If you guys didn't see that episode, go check it out. But to open up Season 2 with a victory at the Australian Grand Prix is a mega task. It looks for good things this season. Cross the line in P1.
That's a race win. You've really been great today.
A victory for Alfa Romeo. The team will certainly be celebrating tonight. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Alfa Romeo have been winning fans the world over with their brilliant driving, showing that they're a force to be reckoned with out there on the track. They'll certainly be building on that fan base after today's excellent result. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Rose takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
My driver of the day was Devon Butler. He did an amazing job pushing through the field, cementing his growing reputation for ruthlessly running down those top positions.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Alfa Romeo push past their rivals and take over the championship lead. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
It's early, but Alfa is in the lead of the Constructors' Championship, which makes me super happy. Kimi gets himself some points as well that helps on to the interview.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Judging from today's race, it must be pretty hard to fend off Devon when he wants to pass.
So a funny thing, Claire, I never saw Devon Butler, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
I'm really glad that we can live up to their expectations.
Well, thanks anyway.
No, thank you, Claire. And guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it so much for all the support you guys are throwing me. Until the next one, I'm going to leave you with the race highlights. And this has been the Australian Grand Prix of Season 2. Enjoy. See you on the next one.